guys, welcome to Everything Vaguely Paranormal. I'm Shelley Pruitt, and these are my partners in the paranormal, Mr. Blake Smith and Mr. Ryan Roberts. And tonight, guys, okay, I'm excited for this one because I have gone and watched 2 of these documentaries. Our guest tonight is David Glidden. And if you don't know who he is, you better go find out because he has done 2 separate documentaries on the spook lights. Now, Ryan, I know you all about the spook lights. That's like one of your things. Ryan keeps trying to get us to come and find the spook lights. So I knew Ryan would really like these. One of David's projects is Into the Light, an exploration of the spook light phenomena. And you can find that on YouTube. And then the other one is named Into the Light 2, a spook light theory. And I have to tell you, I had a lot of fun, especially watching the second one. We got to talk to him about somebody that was on that.
Both of them phenomenally done. I mean,
yes, very well done.
Absolutely fantastic
documentaries. Yeah.
And you know me, I kind of like a comedic aspect, a little bit more of a comedic aspect towards the end of the second one. So, you know me, I was rolling. But guys, are you ready to bring on our guest?
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Please welcome David Glidden, documentary filmmaker, paranormal researcher, and YouTube content creator, and Lord of the Ghost Light, Mr. David Glidden. How are you today, sir?
Hey, I'm good. How are y'all?
Good, man.
It's such a pleasure to have you. I am so excited. So, what brought on your interest in the spook light phenomena?
Well, the area I live in is about an hour south of Joplin, Missouri, where the Joplin Spooklight is. It's something that's talked about a lot around here. It's kind of Joplin's early claim to fame was the Spooklight. They had a museum out there. A lot of people would go out there just to see this thing. And over time, it's kind of died down, but the talk is still there. So being in this area, heard about it a lot. I've gone out there, multiple times. And I've just one day I was kind of curious and I was looking around online, trying to see if anybody had any videos or any kind of any kind of documentaries or anything about this, and I came up short. So I'd always wanted to do a documentary, and I thought, well, what better documentary than the Spooklight? And I contacted my friend Josh Hurd, and we just kind of did some research and found that this was a phenomenon that wasn't just local to Joplin. This was something that was happening worldwide, and there wasn't much explanation out there for it. So we decided, hey, let's pick a few places and let's go to them and let's investigate them. And that's what we did.
How many places did you have initially before you narrowed it down to the 3 that y'all went to in the first documentary?
We had gone through probably about a dozen different places, everything from Michigan down to the Marfa Lights in Texas to the Glidden Light in Arkansas. But we ended up narrowing it down to the 3, the St. Mary's Light in Iowa, the Joplin Spooklight, and then the Brown Mountain Lights in North Carolina.
Now, see, I'm from North Carolina originally, so I have seen the Brown Mountain Lights.
I knew you were going to take that, Ryan.
I was going to say, now Ryan's a North Carolina boy, but I knew he'd hop in with it.
Even though we're in Texas, I am a North Carolina boy initially, and when I went to college at App State, we would go out and we would go see the Brown Mountain Lights, and man, it's insane to see when you see it in person.
Did you go to Wiseman's View, or where did you go to?
Initially, the first time I went and saw the Brown Mountain Lights, I went to the Brown Mountain Overlook. That overlooks the Linville Gorge. That's the first place I saw it. Yep. And then I was able to and my sister and my stepdad out to Wiseman's View and saw them from Wiseman's View as well.
Right.
I know on the Overlook, you get kind of like a wider breadth of the whole Linville Gorge, and you can kind of see a little bit further. But Wiseman's View, they actually seem to be a bit closer when you're at Wiseman's View. And I know that's where you guys kind of camped out at in the first documentary, and that was your third stop. So
yeah, we got lucky about getting that tip. The drive out there sucked balls because
imagine
you're talking
I
like
told y'all you were gonna like Dave.
You're talking like mountain roads that are unkept, and it literally knocked my van out of alignment just going up there and back down. Like, it beat the crap out of my van.
Well, because Wiseman's View is in that, like, you have to go down that road like way off, to go and you have to walk a trail in the dark to get down in there. So it's tough. I know.
Yes.
So
whenever, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Shelley.
I was going to say, so what initially got your interest in the spook lights? Just because you'd heard about the phenomena?
Yeah,
or had you actually witnessed something and thought I'll delve a little deeper into it? Because you said you had gone looking for it, but what prompted you to go looking for that? Just old wives' tales?
Well, initially, like just going out to the Joplin Spooklight, when you hear about it, of course you want to see it. I mean, it's curiosity.
Yeah.
We're paranormal researchers. That's what we do.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Go see it. So, like, I had to go and check it out for myself. A couple of the times that I went out there, I might have saw something, but I wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, but I've had a lot of people tell me their stories and everything like that. And just based off of what I experienced out there, possibly experienced, plus their stories, it just kind of built it up, and thought that was a great topic that nobody was touching, surprisingly.
And in the first documentary, you got very lucky and you found that guy named Jim who gave you free roam of his property, which I thought that was extremely cool, that he was like, y'all go ahead, you can do it. And how many acres was it?
160, I think.
160.
Wow. Yeah.
So
it was weird.
How did you determine where you were going to camp out?
So it's funny. We actually had found old maps of the area and where they said that the Spooklight was roaming around. And of course, in that town, there's no library. It's maybe like 150 some people, but there was a bar. So we went to the bar.
Hell yeah. You're my kind of guy, Jake.
We went to the bar, sat around there for a couple hours, had a couple drinks, and then we asked a few people about it. And they said, oh yeah, this guy, Jim, has property out there. And luckily Jim came in while we were there, and we talked to Jim for a minute, and he said, yeah,
drink, best friends.
Oh yeah. He said, come on out at such and such time and everything. So we went out there, and he gave us a tour of the property and showed us where the light was, where it's said to be. And then he set us up. He's like, hey, you guys camp right here. And he gave us access to his gator to let us drive around in it, and had shower, which was Josh's big thing. Josh was like a big shower guy. He has to have a shower. I'm like, dude, just take some wet wipes. Be a man.
Yeah.
So
camping,
he hooked us up. He hooked us up really good. And but the only library around was probably about a half hour away in the next town over, Indianola, where it was a big town. It's got its own community college and everything there. So they had all the research there that we needed to go through. And, it happened to turn out pretty good. I was more pleased with the way it turned out than actually capturing anything at that point.
Yeah. I thought that was like a really cool part. This little bit tidbit about me. I do genealogical research on the side.
Yes.
And so when y'all were really digging into that historical aspect of it with
Isabella Wallace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Isabella Wallace, and figuring out the validity and confirmation of her death, how she passed, and all that stuff. I thought I was like, dude, see, that's what we do. Like, I love no matter where we're at, investigating or researching, whatever. That's a lot of the part that the viewers don't really get to see.
It's a huge part. And, when you do get that confirmation, like it sent chills up my spine just because it was on the second day. It wasn't on the first day that we found anything. So like being able to get that confirmation right before we were about to go back out there to investigate it, like it was spine chilling and like exciting all at the same time. So it kind of put more of an emotional stamp onto what we were doing, as opposed to just being logical about everything. Like, well, there's an attachment to it.
You have that tangible aspect to it. When you hit the end goal and you're standing at the grave of the person and you're like, oh shit, this shit's real. Okay, wow. It's just something comes over you at that point. So I thought that was freaking awesome. I
found it fascinating that the year of 1872 is completely missing from that history book. I'm like, what are they trying to cover up that happened in 1872?
That was my initial thought. I was like, man, it's not right here.
That's right.
Sometimes old records like that were just kind of hard to keep in small towns.
Just moved around and mislabeled and things like that. Yeah.
So one of the things that you had talked about in the first documentary, Into the Light, you talked about how that the Trail of Tears from like 1836, that's along the lines where a lot of these spook light phenomena has been spotted, is what would be along what was considered the Trail of Tears.
Yeah.
And there was actually a lot of Native American land that appears to be where you can see this stuff. Has that like held true out of all the ones that you've investigated? Does it truly kind of follow along this line, beginning to end, or are there those outliers?
I don't necessarily know that it was because of the Trail of Tears. I do know, like with the Joplin one, it was spotted as far back as the Trail of Tears, so it could have been there before all of that. Okay. There's a lot of Native American lore around a lot of these areas because, I mean, before settlers were here, it was all Native American land anyway. Mm-hmm. So those legends kind of get passed down through time. Like in the Brown Mountains, there was on top of, I think it's Table Rock Mountain, was said to be sacrifices, Native American sacrifices happening up there. And then in the gorge, there was a battle between two warring tribes. And that kind of legend and lore does play itself into the legend and lore of the spooklights themselves. And that's where a lot of ideas come up as to where the light comes from and everything. So
see, and then you took and then it kind of started veering slightly to the left, and then you started pulling in there's the UFO aspect to it. Yeah. So you add this other layer to it.
It's a big left turn.
Yeah, I guess you could say, because you start off going down this path and all of a sudden this path.
Well, now wait a minute. Are we jumping into the second documentary here now?
Well, I kind of want to ask a question because I'm chomping at the bit for this question, because this question came up when I was watching the second one. So yeah, I guess you could say we're going to
let's jump into the light to a spook light theory.
So my question that came up and repeated over in my mind while I was watching the second one, Into the Light 2, was, do you feel, and in the research, that you've kind of opened this, how do I put Pandora's box, this doorway, because you add layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of, you start out with the spook lights, and by the end of it, it's like
you're squatch hunting.
You're squatch hunting, man. You got UFOs, Sasquatch, and all this kind of stuff that goes with it.
Well, it was happenstance. During the first Into the Light, while we were at the Brown Mountains, my friend Richard Rose joined us out there at the Overlook, and we were hearing stuff down in the gorge like we'd never heard anything like that before. Mm-hmm. So at one point I'm like, dude, it's got to be Bigfoot, right? Just kind of have that part around. Yeah. And so I even messed with Rick a little bit with the Sasquatch call in the second one. Like, you don't see it in the first movie, but there's a clip of it in the second one. That's just kind of how we are. But I messed with him about that. And then when we went down to this place in Arkansas, we were told about UFO sightings. We were told about the Bigfoot sightings. In fact, the whole thing with the rocks levitating was something that really piqued my interest about these spook lights that they were having happen. And also on Expedition Unknown, Josh Gates's hunt for the extraterrestrial thing, they actually visited that place and captured one of the lights floating above the trees.
I think I remember that now.
I didn't realize it was the same place.
Yeah, I didn't
same place. But he didn't go into the stuff that we did. And honestly, we didn't get into the squatch hunting until the first night we were there. We had some incidences where rock was thrown at us, thrown at me pretty close to the camera and me. And it just piqued our interest there. And we're like, man, we got to check this out. This is something actively happening. So we have to investigate this. We weren't seeing any lights, but we were having this other activity happening. So as investigators, you got to focus on what's going on in the moment.
And that's usually how it goes. It organically evolves as
you're looking for one thing and suddenly you're getting another. Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, and this didn't even make it into the movie because I wasn't able to capture it on camera, but we all witnessed a UFO out there.
Really?
On the first night, we were set up on the stage that's out there, and we were just kind of watching the hills, looking for lights, and we just happened to look up in the sky, and we saw this thing just humming across the sky. And we looked; it wasn't satellites. It didn't have any other lights like in when an airplane flies over, it has like the beacon lights. Didn't have any of those. It was just one solid color, zoomed across the sky and went behind some clouds, and we never saw it again. So technically it's a UFO because it's unidentified, but
right, yeah.
But that was the initial thing that got our juices flowing in that regard. And then of course day 2 we went and did the research, and I started thinking about the Bigfoot stuff, and I started looking at sightings in the area, the 4-state area of Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas, and there was a map I had found that was pinpointing like all the Bigfoot sightings, and there was a map that I found that was pinpointing UFO sightings, and a lot of sightings were centralized around that area that we were in, and it got me thinking about like all these other things that we'd experienced and talked about.
You know, and it seems that a lot of those things correlate in these certain hot spots, because Brown Mountain, like you were saying, in that gorge is untouched. You cannot build in that gorge. It is protected. It's protected area. Yeah. And
you can't even like really climb, or well, you can hike in there, but you would get lost. And if something happened to you, nobody would find you. It's
massive. And you know, so that place, and then the crystal mine that you go to, that area, I mean, both seem to be, you know, they're untouched, like they're environmentally sound areas.
Yes.
They're pure, and they seem to be attracting whatever, you know, UFOs are, whatever Sasquatch is, whatever is coming through from the other side. Those two areas seem to be hotspots that are attracting those things.
Yes.
And the reason I bring that up is because you said something earlier, and I kind of want to ask you this question. You said that the Joplin Spooklight, you said it's kind of fizzled out. When you said that, do you mean like
the popularity of it?
Okay, because I was going to say, do you think that maybe where the Joplin Spooklight is seen because of the environmental changes, where the Joplin Spooklight is, it's not seen as often?
No, what it is, the Quapaw, Oklahoma, like technically the Spooklight Road is in Quapaw, Oklahoma. It's not actually in Joplin. Joplin's just the biggest city around, so it gets labeled Joplin. So the Quapaw police actually patrol the roads, and they are fining and ticketing people that park on the side of the road that want to see it. So they have really alleviated anybody going out to see that. A lot of the land out there is privately owned, so you can't trespass. So if you go out there, you are running the risk of being fined an excessive amount of money, even having your vehicle towed. So they put a squelch on people going out there and seeing it. The locals, they don't really want to talk about it. The people that live along the roads, they really don't want to talk about it, which we found out the hard way. We went door to door knocking, like just trying to talk to people. But we just lucked out. There was a guy that owned some property and let us camp out there, and so that was lucky for us. But yeah, it's just people don't want to talk about it. It's not really building up out there. There's a few more houses there than, you know, maybe there was 15 years ago, but it's really a rural area. And again, I think it's just, there's been people that have died out there, been hit by cars, and the police just don't want to deal with that. That and vandalism, theft, stuff like that happens. So the police just don't really want to deal with it. So they try to keep people out of that area from doing that.
Okay.
Understandable.
Yeah, that's a shame that the phenomena kind of is being pushed to the side because people can't behave.
No,
you know?
And that was something I've been thinking about for the last year and a half, was like, it'd be awesome to buy like a half acre and turning it into a parking lot, and maybe putting an observation deck out there so people can just come and park in the parking lot, sit on this deck and just watch, and, you know, make it open to the public.
Yeah.
You know,
make it happen, Dave.
Yeah.
Got faith in you.
I'm gonna knock on everybody's door. Hey, can I buy some land from you?
You look
just right up here by the road.
Yeah.
So you guys brought up a very interesting theory, and I believe it's you that's outlining it towards the end of the second film about the spooklights, how it kind of became your focus kind of switched to UFOs, and then it kind of switched to Bigfoot, and you gave this thing about the time-space continuum and perhaps things being left behind or doors being opened. which is very funny because that is a very similar theory as to what Ryan floated. And I was like, nah. But it appears, Ryan, you have someone who agrees with you. Do you want to kind of let the listeners in on kind of what your theory was on that exactly? I don't want to butcher it.
Yeah, so after the first film, we did a little bit more research, and we found out that there was actually a university out in either North or South Carolina that was trying to recreate these lights in a lab setting. And the only way that they could do that was using elements of plasma. Much of what you could find in like a candle flame. Now, plasma doesn't just manifest in nature all by itself. Lightning strikes and things like that will manifest plasma. It'll create plasma, like combining oxygen and vaporized elements. Tends to create like this plasma effect or some of these light phenomena. That's kind of attributed to ball lightning. But in order for that to happen, there has to be a storm. So all these other times when people are seeing these lights and there's no storm, what is it? So towards the end of the second film, you know, after doing the research about these Bigfoot sightings and the UFO sightings and noticing that they're in these locations that we had actually investigated, it just kind of shoestringed into another and just like kind of put it in perspective that, you know, people believe Bigfoot is an interdimensional being. If that's the case, it's got to travel through a rip in time space or a wormhole. UFOs, they're not going to fly through space 100 million light years per second or whatever and not hit something, right? You can't dodge stuff that quick. So somehow they got to go from point A to point B without, you know, damaging anything or dying. So they would open up portals or a wormhole or something to that effect. So when this happens, based on some information I've read up on from the Hadron Collider over at CERN, when they were opening up mini black holes, when they did so, that when they closed up, there were elements of plasma being left behind from these black holes. So I got to thinking that if these beings are traveling from point A to point B, using a rip in space and time and or just a wormhole, when that seals up, or either at the beginning of the travel of them leaving or coming, there should be some elements of plasma being left behind if that's the case, and which could be what we're seeing as these light anomalies, these spook lights.
Damn.
That makes total sense to me.
It does me too. But I will tell you.
Go ahead, Blake. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I will tell you, my brain, when you started explaining that in the documentary, I was sitting there because my brain was not firing that quick. I was like, all right, swamp gas. Okay, well, and then you start going on this, and I was like, oh shit, fool. He's right. Damn. Okay. So that kind of led me to another question, is that, so it's kind of under your belief that this is not necessarily maybe a singular phenomena occurrence, more as a synergistic phenomena, that it's all these things kind of coming together to create this anomaly that's forming.
Yes. Now I'm not saying that aliens and Bigfoot are all one and all the same. Right. They're obviously different creatures, but I think the way that they are traveling is similar. You know, this past summer I binged watched the Expedition Bigfoot on Discovery Plus, and they started talking about a lot of the theories that I was discussing in the film about Bigfoot being an interdimensional being or traveling at in some phenomenal way, where they caught this. There's one video they had where they were hearing the footsteps and they panned over and they saw like this dark shadow fade out into the light. Like it just disappears on camera. A lot of the shadows that they were seeing out there, when you think about why are there only blurry pictures of Bigfoot, could it be altering its space around it? You know, you could chase a Bigfoot. You're not going to catch a Bigfoot. Probably because they are manipulating the area around it to either A, travel to somewhere, or B, if they have the ability to cloak. they're going to change
so
their
Bigfoot's
environment.
Magical.
I guess you could say that.
I love that.
You think of a
I
chameleon.
love that. Yes, I love that. That actually makes sense to me that he could be very chameleon-like. We also we had done a podcast earlier in the year over UFOs and that kind of phenomena that occurs around it. One of the theories we also floated, and tell me what you think about this, is that potentially that these creatures are actually earthly, and that the Bigfoot are actually earthly, and their habitat's being destroyed, which is why we're seeing more and more of them. But they do tend to show up around UFO phenomena. Could this UFO phenomena be emitting some kind of signal or some kind of frequency that draws them out? That was something else that we had kind of talked about. Do you think that would be possible?
I think it's more along the lines of piezoelectric energy, something natural within the earth. These areas could be high in mineral content, especially things like quartz and crystal. I know Joplin, it got its start because of all the mining that happened out here, but it was more like lead ore. But there is crystal around here. Missouri's, I think, if I might be wrong, but I believe it's got the most caves than any other state. So there's a lot of limestone here in Missouri too. The Crystal Camp, of course, it's crystals. It's a crystal mine. The Brown Mountains, they've got a lot of crystal energy out there. In fact, in 1923, the Geological Survey Society went out there and examined the mountain and found all of the minerals that were in there and tried to use that as the explanation for the lights. But a lot of it really didn't line up with the same location where the lights were being seen. But I think a discharge of energy is more modernly capable of being read and monitored by electronic devices. So if you think about an advanced civilization that is flying across space, they're going to be able to see where certain points of the earth are emitting a higher frequency or higher energy that they can draw from. I for one believe the pyramids of Egypt is kind of one of those areas. But as far as Bigfoot goes, now we're going to get into cattle mutilation here for a second.
Okay.
So with cattle mutilations, when that happens, if one cow turns up dead, the rest of the herd will move away from it. They won't go around it. Scavengers won't even pick the animal apart because of something that's happened with this cow. But whenever the funny stuff starts to happen, what's been seen is the cows will behave differently. They will either stampede to an area, they will just run frantically like they're under attack. That's like a bio signal, some kind of biological signal that cows are able to perceive. It's like having a sixth sense. I think maybe Sasquatch is possibly in that category where there is an additional sense, like a dog, where they can pick up on certain things, frequencies, and there's a potential that they use more of their brain than what we do, because everybody always says, "Oh, we only use 10%." That's not the case. We don't use 10% of our brain. We use 90% of it. We don't use 10%.
Yeah.
So what if Bigfoot uses 95%? What happens when you unlock that extra brain power? Can you manipulate your surroundings? Can you pick up on frequencies? Can you pick up on energy? So I think that has something to do with why Bigfoot and UFO sightings happen in the same area. That was a lot, I know.
No, that's
No.
I'm thinking about it. I'm going, okay. I'm trying to see how I can make this in my little brain. I got to unlock another couple brain cells to be able to process all of it. Be real honest with you. But I'm working on it here.
I was gonna say, I think you're onto something with that, because I think that's why you see things like Skinwalker Ranch and things of that nature. You have all these cryptids being sighted. You have UFO activity. You have poltergeist activity. You have cattle mutilation. I think that what you're saying, I really jive with it. Is what I'm trying to say. But
in a natural way, it just makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. But do you think that you were talking about something maybe tearing open a hole in the space-time continuum and leaving things behind. Do you think that maybe the reason you have all of these things coming together at once, maybe some of these things are piggybacking on that hole in the space-time continuum, or that hole from another dimension coming into our dimension?
It's possible. You think about the Dogman, for instance. Dogman sightings are on the up. Could be that it is, like you said, piggybacking off of, say a Sasquatch opening up a rip in time space, or even a UFO. Like, the portals will appear. It's just being able to measure and find and predict it. That's the problem that we have. I know in quantum theory, physicists have actually said that we can, and we do have the ability to alter our environment with our mind. We just don't use enough of it to be able to do that. Like, that's something that's always stood out to me. And, again, if certain creatures are using more of their brain, do they not have the brain power to manipulate their surroundings and potentially open up a rift?
I think that's an excellent point. I mean, Ryan's on his piggybacking through.
Yeah, y'all are all
rips
talking
in the time
physics and stuff, and I'm wondering what's the difference between a Dogman and a Bigfoot?
Dogman's more like it has the appearance of a werewolf. It's just not a human that turns into a werewolf. It's just
it's a werewolf proper all the time.
It's just a werewolf the entire time.
Just
Y'all
to bring
talking rips and space time, and I'm going, I wonder what the actual difference is between.
Well, to tell you where we were going with that was we had an episode where Ryan was asking if things could piggyback through the rip in the space time continuum, and Shelly was like, "You mean to tell me that Bigfoot's just catching a piggyback ride on a UFO?
It's just funny you say piggyback. That's part of what I did.
Yeah,
So,
that's the wood car that we're here in the woods.
Ryan, I was mocking you on that episode, and I apologize because someone apparently much smarter than me agrees with you. I'm just like, what's Bigfoot? Catching the $29.99 special, the Earth. Hey, let's go.
Pulling up the fur on his legs, sticking it out.
Yeah, exactly. One leg sticking out, fur flapping in the breeze. Yeah, exactly.
Well, as Dave just said, that's the yell we hear. That that's them coming in on the UFO. They're landing.
So Dave, I got to tell you, I have always wanted to go squatching and go Bigfoot hunting, and I messaged these guys when I got to the part in the video when y'all are going, we started out doing started out hunting for spook lots, and now we've been squatching for the past 2 days. And I believe it was Josh that said that. Yeah. And I said, it was like, oh my God, you guys, this has turned into a Bigfoot hunt. I'm loving it. And because that's like my thing. I really, truly want to go Bigfoot hunting. That don't mean I ain't going to be a chicken shit when I got there in the woods. But I think that Josh would understand where I was coming from.
Oh, absolutely.
Child, we're going to have to talk about Josh.
We never squatched before that. So we had no earthly idea what the hell we were doing. I've gotten comments like, why didn't you use a FLIR if all this crap was happening? Like, we had one with us. It just wasn't charged. It was dead from the night before. So
you're like, lay the hell off, man. It was our first time. Calm down. Like, what a shit.
I mean,
we're looking for light anomalies, not a big hairy creature. I mean, damn.
And you got something throwing rocks at you from out of the woods you can't see. You don't always think to go grab something, another piece of equipment. You're just kind of in the moment.
Yeah.
Well, there was actually a lot more that happened.
So there was more that happened?
Yeah, there was actually more that happened that wasn't on camera or anything. Like when I woke up that night and was hearing the clapping, what actually woke me up, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Sierra sounds.
I'm not.
Is that the one where the guy he recorded the Bigfoot screams?
The talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm just talking about.
Yeah, it was like Bigfoot was like either talking to each other or talking to them, but it was like in this weird, like if you were watching a bad Japanese movie, like kung fu movie, like that's what it sounded like. So that night, what woke me up was I was actually hearing the talking out in the ridge line, out in the wood line, from where we were camping. I heard it and I was like, who the hell is out there? And then I started hearing the clapping. I'm like, man, I gotta record this. I didn't want to get out of my tent and like startle him. So I just grabbed my cell phone and just started recording with my cell phone. And by the time I did get out of the tent, it basically all stopped. And then I was like, well, shit, walked back, got in my tent, started to lay down again. And then boom, it started up again. I was like, well, here we go.
Man, how much courage did it take for you to get up and get out of your tent? That
wasn't so bad because I know if there was a Bigfoot up on the stage, we would have felt it like walking. So I knew nothing was on the stage. And I knew Josh he had brought a gun just in case. So
Josh wasn't going to be any help, though. I can already tell you.
No. So, and I didn't leave the stage. That's the other thing. I was not about to just go walk in the dark trying to find my way to where these voices and stuff were coming from. But the voices was like like I said, the bad Japanese kung fu movie mixed with like a caveman grunts. It was weird. And this, I heard that before I even heard the Sierra sounds. Somebody had showed me those one day, and I hadn't even told them about what I heard out there because I didn't. At that point, I wasn't sure if that was just something that there's somebody in the woods messing with us then. But I heard the Sierra sounds. I was like, holy crap, that's exactly what I heard. So,
wow.
Yeah. I'm actually this October going to be going back out there and filming another documentary on the Bigfoot activity
Awesome.
that's happening out there.
I'm sorry. And what day is this? And what time are we supposed to be there?
Shelly, calm down.
But our whole goal this time around is going to be actually pursuit of the Bigfoot activity. I'm getting 3 days, 3 nights out there to camp and do whatever. And hopefully we can make contact. One of my things I'm going to do is take the Sierra sounds out and I'm going to play them over a speaker and see if anything will communicate back in that fashion.
So
I'm gonna tell you now, I would not be joining because me and Josh would be in the same freaking boat. I'd be like, fuck, what the fuck is that?
Josh made me laugh so much only because I could see one of these two guys above me doing the exact same damn thing. Josh was chain smoking and was kind of like, what was that? Fuck y'all, what was that? I heard that, Okay, so that would be Ryan, and Blake would be the one over there going, okay, calm down. I could see one of these two guys doing the exact same thing. And I got to tell you, Josh got a little special place in my heart because he proved that every time any kind of, investigator of any kind gets scared, we'll go, fuck, what was that? Fuck. That's the standard word. We laugh all the time that we say, fuck.
Yeah.
Or, dude, fuck. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Yep.
So Josh kind of held a little special place in my heart. And I absolutely, whenever he was out there, how far away from you was he whenever he was saying, calm down. Okay, this is today's my mother's birthday. I guess the day that her son gets killed by a Sasquatch. How far away from you were?
We were quite a ways away from each other. There's that whole property. That whole property is 60 acres, and we're on opposite sides of the property.
Ah, okay.
So he was really going to have to run. Sasquatch could have caught him between there and there.
The road he was on, like, it comes down, and then there's another road that crosses, and that road goes towards the back of the property. And he all he had to do is go down and make a right, but he kind of, in his panic, got discombobulated, didn't know where he was going to go, and that kind of scared him even more because he's got something thrown shit at him. And where do you go if you don't know? Like,
I have to tell you, in those moments, I truly could not I couldn't look away. I'm going, hang in there, Josh. Hang in there, Josh. Just keep going forward, Josh. You're going to find your way out. I was rooting for him in that moment. I'm like, come on, Josh, you can do it.
And I think that's kind of, tell us from your perspective, your experience in those moments when you're out there, that shit's going down. What are those moments like? What are you feeling? How are you experiencing it?
Well, for me, on the second day, when we split up, while I was at the event site, I did have something thrown. You don't hear it very well on the audio. On the audio, it sounds like an acorn or something fell out of a tree, but like there was a rock that was thrown kind of in the distance, and all I did was I just kept talking to myself, like talking to the camera and everything. I was like, "This is how I'm going to cope. This is how I cope with it."
Yeah, I heard you go. Yeah, that was a rock that just got thrown. I guess it came from behind me. Okay, and you were trying. Yeah, that was. Yeah. You're going. Whoops.
Like the whole time, like I was filming, I was just pretty much talk. But that's just being isolated out in the middle of the woods where you can have bear, you could have mountain lion, you could have, God knows what else coming and attack you in the middle of the night and you won't see it coming. But like as far as the Josh thing went, like it was so intense. While I was editing it, like I watched the entire thing through, and as I'm watching it, even my stomach, I was like flexing my stomach, like getting tense because of what was happening, just watching it, knowing that
he was okay.
That was all natural. Everything that was happening was organic. It wasn't anything manifested from Hollywood or any special effects or nothing. Of course, there's nothing special about that, but like no effects or nothing. It was all organic fear, organic activity. Like it just made it that much more intense.
Yeah. And well, that's exactly what I had told Shelly too. I was like, I was watching it. Like, I think I even used the term, my stomach was in knots, like watching it because I was fearful for it. I mean, he really, the way it's edited and the way that he's talking to himself, he really puts you in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To see the whole clip all the way through, like it's really intense. And there's times if you watch it, if you're wearing headphones watching it, there's times you could actually hear like the rustling and the leaves and the movement that's off of the road that he's hearing. You can kind of hear some of that. And where he was hearing it from, it wasn't like a flat piece of land or anything. Like it drops down. So whatever's off to the side of the road is running along the hillside. It's not like, just running on flat land. So there's a little bit of athleticism to whoever or whatever was out there.
Well, the feeling definitely came across as if he was prey and not predator.
Yeah.
He
Big
definitely
time.
came across as prey. And he didn't want to be prey. That was real obvious. He didn't
want to find out what was it, the 3 warnings? They give you 3 warnings.
Yeah, because I thought it was funny. He's like, oh, that's only 1. Oh shit, that's 2. Okay.
He's like, and then he meets up with me. I'm like, you didn't want to. I'm like, you didn't want to see what the 3rd one would be? Like,
no, he did get the 3rd one, didn't he? He goes, yeah, I think that's 3. That's 3. Okay, I got to get out of here.
Did he get
that last rock?
He had 2 rocks. He had 2 rocks thrown, but the rest of it was like footsteps and stuff that he was hearing.
Oh, okay.
Now, I know y'all met up. Did y'all? And he said he didn't want to go back down that hill to go back towards camp. Did you have to go and meet him to come back downhill with him, or did he meet you?
No, he came up towards the northern part of the property where I was at, and we met kind of not halfway, but kind of halfway. He was a little bit more closer to my area when we met up, and we just trailed back the way I came through the event site and then back down to the camp. We circled around that area. Now, that area that he was in, Orville, the guy that gave us a tour and was talking to us about it, he said that they believed that section was where they were training their younger Bigfoot. I don't know what you would call the kids.
Kids, children,
Squatchlings.
Squatchlings. There you go, squatchlings.
So that's where they like train them to manipulate the forest and things like that. That's where we found the rock stackings, the logs that were crossed with the rocks laid up on the logs, the rock that was jammed in the tree, the footprint, like all of that was in that area. So it just made sense that that's where all that really happened for him.
So with the, I found that interesting. I appreciate, let me tell you this, I appreciate how in depth y'all went with the different showing of the signs and stuff like that, because for somebody like me who's not super deep into Sasquatch and Sasquatch hunting, I mean, I want to go, don't get me wrong, I believe in it, want to go, but looking for those little tiny signs like that, like, have you ever come across anything with the bending of the trees and stuff like that that's naturally occurring in nature?
Occurring? Yeah. Bending of the trees, yes, but when they're woven together, no.
Yeah.
Unless it's a vine. If it's a vine that does it, that's one thing. But if it's just like tree branches that are literally woven, that's not natural.
That was interesting as hell. I was looking, I had to pause the video and I was like, what the shit?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, when he first gave us the tour, I was kind of 50-50 on whether I wanted to believe any of that.
Skeptical, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, does he just set this stuff up to take people out and be like, we got this going on? But there's not a whole lot of people that go out there to investigate Bigfoot. So I don't know. I didn't know at the time whether or not he was setting us up for something, but yeah, they stayed in their house the entire time, which was really cool.
So you know for a fact that they didn't come out at all to mess with you, and there would have been no one else on the property.
Well, in the middle of the night, it would have been hard to go through the woods in the middle of the night with no flashlight.
Right.
Like, because you couldn't see maybe 10, 15 feet in front of you. It was just super dark. And on top of that, you would hear them walking around
right.
with leaves and everything. So, and plus, Orville's an old guy. He's not going to go traipsing through the woods. And of course, Cheryl, she probably couldn't give two shits about scaring people.
What did you feel whenever you saw that footprint? What was your initial thought when you saw the footprint?
I was boggled. I was actually kind of skeptical about it because when I think of a footprint, I think of the foot actually making a deeper imprint, but because the ground was so dry and it was just so dusty, I could see something like that just kind of sticking and kind of sliding. So I wasn't too sure about that, but with the rock thing, that was very peculiar because like it was a hefty rock that got put up there. And I looked around the tree and you couldn't really see it on the camera, but there was like spots in the leaves where it looked disturbed, and whatever it would have stuck the rock up there and walked around the tree, and if that was the case, had a pretty good sized stride.
Yeah, I thought that was super interesting with the size of the rock that was up there versus the hole of the limb that it was in. It almost fitting perfectly. Yeah, that was crazy.
Now, I thought that was interesting when it was a bigger rock. The next time it was like, all right, you son of a bitch, you moved my rock. I'll put a bigger one back up here.
Move this, you asshole.
But so did they when you guys left and went home? You guys stayed in contact with them?
Yeah, actually, by the time we got home, they contacted us. They went out with some friends for dinner, and on the way back home, in the middle of the road, if you remember, on the second night, I left a glow stick hanging in a tree. When they were coming back home, in the middle of the road, their drive, there were 3 sticks stacked in a pyramid, and hanging from the center of it was a glow stick.
No,
oh, that's cool.
They sent me pictures of that too. It was pretty amazing. But but the skeptical guy in me is always like, yeah, did they set that up and just take pictures? But like, yeah, for them that's elaborate.
Yeah,
and that was going to be my next question. Did they notice an increase in activity after you guys left?
They've constantly had activity. In fact, they have claimed that they've actually been making contact with the Bigfoots or Sasquatches. However you want to call it. And that's part of the reason why I'm going back down there is because if they're establishing some form of communication, then we want to investigate that a little bit further. Now, at the time, they were being left gifts from these entities, these Bigfoots. They were being left crystals, like that picnic table where we would leave the peanut butter and the Jack Links. They would leave gifts on there in forms of crystals and rocks and stuff that were from the surrounding area. So, so there was, at least early on, still some form of trust and bonding, building exercises that are being done with right there. But at this point, it's been a few years now, and I'd imagine that the trust is there. I can see why they would probably be making contact. So being able to go out there and try to document it and everything is going to be. I
found that part super interesting as well as comical as well. How we always think of like paranormal researchers, whenever you're trying to make contact, establish contact, and you have these things that people are like, oh, try this, it works like this, and there's a set rules, and you have to go about it, and all this stuff. And here y'all are throwing out Jacqueline's whatever it was, hot links and peanut butter, and what was her name? The lady that
Cheryl.
No. That was on in Joplin.
Native American lady that was
Yes.
throwing up the pretzel flips that she crushed up in all four directions.
Yeah, and she was like, and we'll pour this in the four corners.
It's cherry cola.
It's cherry cola, and I was like, that. Okay, that's cool. Like you're just so laid back with it.
I think it's the action of sharing, right?
It's honestly a lot of Native Americans do their rituals like that. It's like a gift giving kind of thing. They'll leave tobacco. And here's something that up until that point I didn't give any thought about it. When we on the second one we went to the powwow, and they were talking about leaving tobacco at the Spooklight Road and all this stuff. The first time we went there, when Josh and I saw this blue light stretch across the road, Josh was smoking. And guess where he's putting his cigarettes? Huh. The tobacco from his cigarettes were going on the road.
On the road.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And I didn't correlate the two until like after we had shot that, and I was like, wait a minute. Maybe we did kind of call for something, you know?
Yeah, maybe it's just not about them damn cigarettes, because Shelly, you and Ryan had that one take a puff off your cigarette at where was that? West Virginia State Pen, I think.
No, that was at
Ohio.
The place we can't get into anymore.
Oh,
they shut it down. The Beach Army Hospital.
Maybe
we've actually lit a cigarette and set it down and said, if you want to smoke it, you're welcome to. And literally, it starts looking like something starts taking these massive drags off the cigarette, like this. Whenever you inhale the cherry on it, would get really bright and then fade out, and then it'd get really bright again. And we're going, hey, easy, calm down. We got another one for you. Don't get all excited.
Chain smoker over here.
Yeah.
You're good EVPs like this.
Yeah.
He was having a nicotine fit.
Can I get another cigarette, please?
You're like a scary movie. Like your favorite scary movie. EVP.
Yeah.
So David, are you going to put some of your outtakes on your YouTube channel, which is one of them is Haunting History, correct?
Yeah.
Are you going to put some of your outtakes on there? Because I would love to see some of those outtakes. I would like to see what didn't make it in.
No, I'm not going to put any other out there. At this point, there's probably 30 something hours of video that I would have to go through and find stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ain't got time for that.
Ain't got time for that. You got a new one to make.
I literally so with Haunting History, like earlier this year, I signed a non-exclusive rights contract with this not a streaming service, but it's a site that streams on Roku and Fire Stick and Apple TV.
Awesome.
And so like this whole 6th season of Haunting History is going to go on there, and I have one more episode to finish editing and all that. I just finished one last night, actually. That all is going to go on there. But as far as a Haunting History page goes, for now it's kind of on hold. Like nothing's going on there. But probably at the beginning of this next year, it's going to get a whole new makeover and a rebranding, because I've got a new show idea that I'm wanting to put together and put out there. Kind of needs to be done. But it's something that nobody's doing. I can promise you that.
Oh,
and it is about ghost hunting.
Lovely.
So that's something.
You
I
have
got
3
planned
built-in fans right here.
Yeah, we can't wait to see it.
I'll be watching that.
It's going to offend a lot of people. I'll tell you that right now.
Offend? Oh, I'm going to
Even better.
more.
Hey, oh yeah.
Hell yeah! Hey, I'm gonna be refreshing that page till I see it.
I know, no kidding.
I'll make an announcement on Facebook when it starts actually getting underway. Everything, but
all right.
So, what is your other endeavor that you do?
Is like the podcast, or are you talking about the filming? Okay, so I have a podcast called Boogeyman Radio. We've been on YouTube and Twitch more recently, but YouTube. We've been doing the show for a little over a year. My co-host Charles Fort and I, we talk about everything paranormal, as well as conspiracy theories, and then sometimes we have like game nights where we get our listeners involved in some games and stuff like that. So That we do every Tuesday nights at 8:00 Central Time.
But you can go catch his later. Come and watch us live.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's
Yes,
archived.
you can go catch him later. You watch us live, and you go catch him later.
I don't care if people watch it live or watch it later.
As long as they watch it, right?
Exactly.
That's right.
But the everybody seems to have fun with the game night, so we like doing those. We do. We found this game when we were in Eureka Springs called the Mandela Effect. It's basically it's almost like a trivia game, but it basically reads something that's a Mandela effect, and then you have to like pick one of the
Determine
answers,
which is the right answer,
which is the right way that it's that it is, and or how you remember it, and that's something people like doing. I have this other trivia game called I Wish I Didn't Know. It's a bunch of really fucked up facts. You can edit that out later.
No, we don't edit nothing.
Yeah, we don't edit shit. We're 18 and up.
Wait,
Okay.
Dave, can we play around with you?
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Okay, you have to. But it's your game. You've got to tell us how to play. Oh my gosh! I wish I didn't know. I have a feeling I'm really going to regret this here in about 5 minutes.
Live gameplay. Here we are, y'all.
I love it. Dave's going to see how dumb I really am. See, I try to sound smart. I'm not.
Well, some of this stuff I didn't even know. Like this is the cover for it. If you guys are
okay.
I wish I didn't know.
Okay.
It's a trivia. It's a trivia
gonna win.
game.
Ryan's gonna win. He's our freaking
You know what?
human Rolodex.
Okay, viewers, I'm going to tell you right now that none of these three knew I was going to do this, but since when have I ever gone money got a script? We're just going to put Dave on the spot. See, Dave's a good sport.
Winging it right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Three rounds, 5 rounds. How do you want to do this?
Three. Let's do three.
Three.
All right.
Wait, how do you determine the winner?
Whoever gets the most answers right. If there's
Okay.
a tie, we'll do a tiebreaker question with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Maybe it'd just be whoever gets a answer right. Answer right.
All right, hang on. I got a cough.
Oh shit. Here we go.
All right, guys.
Start with Blake.
No. What?
This is for everybody. You all have to answer.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Here's the question. Being stuck in a shitty marriage also has what weird side effects on the body? Is it A, bad marriages make people dumber? B, arguments make wounds heal slower? C, oddly makes people's hair grow faster? Or D, hating your spouse causes you to act more recklessly behind the wheel?
I'd say D.
I'm going to say B.
I'm going with the
heals
hair.
slower.
Whatever the hair was. C, I think.
Yeah, let's see. So we got a B, C, and D.
Mhm.
Yeah. So C. I'm C here.
The answer is B. Arguments make wounds heal slower.
Suck it, boy. Suck it. I've been in a bad marriage. Suck it. I know the answer to this.
Like even stars.
It's not fair. She's cheating. No.
You want to know how I got these scars? Was it marriage?
Right? It was very.
Yes, but the scars are only on my heart.
Oh,
I'm sure
God.
that no, they're not.
I'm trying to find a good question here for you. Let's see.
Shelly cheated on that round, I think.
All right, let's see how
Knowledge is
experienced y'all
power.
are. Let's see how experienced y'all are with this one.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Don't make it a sex question.
Just because you have suddenly have an STD, that doesn't mean your current partner cheated. Which of these diseases can take up to 3 months to show up on tests? Is it A, HIV, B, hepatitis C, C, hepatitis B, or D, all of the above?
Ooh, I hate all of the above answers. I'm going with A, though, HIV.
I'll say hepatitis C.
I'm not real up to date on my STD knowledge. Haven't had it necessary. I'm going to say HIV.
The answer is C. C.
Hepatitis
B.
Hepatitis B. Okay.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, look at us. We're all
Okay.
dumbasses when it comes to STDs. I guess that's a good thing, right?
Yes.
That's probably a good thing.
We've never had to do the research.
All right.
Unless, then again, you can't identify it, but like, I don't know.
Dave just took a shot at us.
Just put some rubbing alcohol on.
Yeah, right? God.
All right.
Damn. Next question. Here we go.
Next question.
We're very competitive.
We are.
Saudi Arabia once considered putting an end to execution by beheading. It turns out the Saudis were running low on A, sharp enough swords, B, people to come watch the execution, C, a place to put the heads, or D, enough accurate swordsmen.
Ooh.
I say D.
I'm going with the place to put the heads because it's the
I'm
weirdest
going with
freaking
accurate
answer.
swordsmen. I'm going
Yeah,
with
that's why I
Ryan on
said
this
D.
one. I think it's D, whatever the accurate swordsman is.
The answer is D, accurate swordsman.
I give up. I'm like,
2-1 to nothing, Blake.
All right, looks like Shelly won.
how do I make my screen go black?
Let's go 2 more questions. That's
more
fun. Will you do 2 more?
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to ask each of us a question, but since I'm whipping y'all's ass, let's go ahead for a couple more.
I'm over here like I'm done. How do I make screen go black?
Look, suddenly this became Dave's podcast, and we're the stupid guest. He's the host. It's like we're on Hollywood Squares or something. You know?
Hang on, I'm trying to find some good questions here. I've got a.
I'm like, this is not good for the three of us because we really are very competitive.
Yeah, you be very careful. Yeah,
we'll get back to Spooklight phenomena in just a minute.
Yeah, and Ryan is the trivia master. So
Okay, there we go.
Uh-oh.
A threadworm sounds tiny and relatively harmless, right? Wrong. Do you know where these parasitic threadworms come from? Is it A, out of a kid's butthole, B, out of unwashed fruits, C, out of your beloved pet, or D, out of the human ear?
Oh,
A threadworm. Okay, so let's see.
I'm gonna say a pet.
I think it comes out of your ear.
I'm gonna go with a kid's butthole.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
This is the most random one.
The answer is A, a kid's butthole.
Oh my god,
Ryan! Oh my gosh, Ryan! How did he beat us on that one? The kid's butthole sounds just like too obvious.
It's the most random one out of the whole group.
It really
That
was.
is a thread worm. Man, now you gave me a daggum freaking rabbit hole to chase. Shit.
Yeah.
Don't go looking down that hole.
Yeah, I know,
Don't
right?
look down that hole. How the hell does it get in your kid's butthole? That is like a told. Never mind. That's a whole other
never
rabbit
mind.
hole.
pretty sure the kids
never
are like eating dirt or some shit.
Probably.
Ugh.
Mhm.
All right. Fifth
Last
one
Here
here.
we go.
Okay.
Which of these is an odd fact about fetuses that you never learned in health class? Is it A, fetuses can get boners, B, fetuses fart in the womb, C, fetuses are awake 90% of the time, or D, fetuses smile the entire time?
I'm going with D. They smile the whole time.
They get erections.
I'll say fart.
The answer is A, they get erections.
Oh,
I was
Shelly.
pregnant with a boy. I already know this.
That's true.
All right. We got a tiebreaker, Shelly and Ryan.
No, I have 3 answers.
No,
right,
Shel- no,
right?
Shelly,
I have
yes.
one.
Yeah, Shelly won.
I got one.
Nope.
Shelly got it.
Shelly got 3.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations, Shelly. Look at you.
Thank you. What a fun game. What a fun game. So,
Some of them get worse.
Are you going to be taking this wonderful game, which now, guys, I must have if you were looking for a birthday present for me and haven't gotten me one yet? Are you going to be bringing this to your Paracon that you are going to be hosting?
I mean,
can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we can talk about the Paracon. Number one, I will be bringing it up to the Airbnb that all of us are staying at because we're gonna like Friday night. I think we're all gonna be hanging out and drinking and partying and playing games and doing stupid stuff because that's what we do. That's what a Paracon, if anybody's
That's what you do after hours.
Yeah, exactly.
If anybody's been to a Paracon, obviously you got.
We usually drink Fireball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ew.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah, no
What do you
Fireball for
drink
me.
then?
Jägermeister.
Oh, hell no.
I'm done. Nope. I'll be right there with you, man. I'll do some Jaeger with you.
Yeah, boy.
Hell yeah.
Ooh, no.
I'll if I just want to take it easy, I'll just drink Bud Light. But Jägermeister.
Oh, child.
I guess me. I'll drink. Here's the funny thing about me and Jägermeister. Maybe it's paranormal. If I'm drinking and I have any Jägermeister, I will literally wake up around 7:00 in the morning every time.
Weird.
No reason behind it. I just wake up.
That's just Shelly every morning.
And I drink
every morning. We
and
go
if
to
I-
bed at 5, drunk as shit. I wake up at 7 a.m. Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Yeah.
No hangover.
and that's the other thing. Like I party till like daylight. Like
Yes.
that's how I was raised in the party scene.
Yeah.
You didn't go to bed because people drop dicks on you, and that's,
That's right. It was
That's true.
dangerous to go to sleep.
Yeah.
so I conditioned myself to party all night and have fun, and
Be
like
the last one asleep.
pretty much. Or if I even go to bed at all, I just stop and then I'll just sober up and go to Sonic, get some tater tots, and yeah, good times.
There you go. So about that Paracon.
So the Paracon.
Dave's like, I didn't know I was going to get on here and confess everything.
I'm an open book. I don't mind.
Enough Jägermeister, you'll be seeing Bigfoot. Don't worry about it.
Right.
I'll be drinking with them. Chase them down. Hey! So no, the Paracon is going to be this October 7th and 8th. The day of the 7th, it'll be from noon to 5. And that day is more of a meet and greet for anybody that wants to come meet the speakers and shop with the vendors and things like that. After we close at 5, at 6 p.m., there's going to be a psychic gallery reading for anybody that wants to attend that.
Oh, nice.
I think there's 25 tickets available. That's going to be done by Jessica Potter. Saturday, we have the Paracon's going to be open from 9 to 6 p.m., 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Excuse me. And all the speakers will be speaking that day. Once the conference ends at 6, there's going to be a 2-hour period. And then at 8 o'clock, we start a concert there at the location. The concert's going to be featuring Randall Shreve, who is a local artist. Absolutely killer, amazing artist. One of my favorites. And like he's up there in my list of favorite artists that goes with nationally or international artists. Like he's great.
Awesome.
He'll be performing. And then also on Saturday night, we have an investigation at the Route 66 movie theater in Webb City, which is basically 15 minutes away from the venue. That is going to be from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. And we might have a second location. I'm still waiting to hear back from them. They've been talking it out. We might have an investigation on Friday night for some people. It's going to be a small group that would be allowed to go, like 7 at max. But is an active location if we get them on board. But yeah, the lineup is actually really good. We have Katie Stafford from Ghost of Devil's Perch, the new show that's on Travel and Discovery Plus.
I watched that first episode today. It was really good.
He was also on Ghost of Morgan City. Him and his wife, Katie, they supply equipment to other paranormal shows like Portals to Hell and things like that. And they build their own equipment. We also have Justin Spurrier, who for about 5-year stretch was a equipment manager for Ghost Adventures. He's also got his own paranormal stuff going on with Spurrier Paranormal. And then we have Jessica Potter, who's an intuitive medium. She's done international travel, doing gallery readings. She'll be coming from DC to do the reading at the conference. We have the Paranormal Research Institute, some great guys out of Illinois. They are doing some really fascinating work with, I don't know if you're familiar with a random event generator.
Please tell us that. You were telling me a little bit about this, about what they were doing, and please tell these guys what it was you told me, because I tried to tell them, but I couldn't do it justice. So
years ago, when Princeton had its own parapsychology class and study, they were using what they developed what they called the random event generator. And basically what it does is it randomizes numbers, and whenever a number repeats, it's tabbed as an event. This was used. One of the more recent uses of this that they did was when 9/11 happened. They had an event spike from their random number generator or random event generator that spiked at the time that the Trade Center was hit. So what these guys are doing is implementing this technology and this study in haunted locations, and they are correlating activity with random events that spike on the generator. Hopefully what they are doing are going to be able to do, this is a goal, is that they are going to be able to predict when events happen at a location. So they're taking in all this data, collecting it. They're doing multiple studies at particular places to build up the data and everything. But currently they're writing an article that's supposed to be in a journal of science in England. Hopefully, if it gets published, I mean, that'll be huge for them. But their research is not what you see everybody else do. Like, it's completely
scientific.
Hence the name Paranormal Research Institute. They are actually, their goal is to get funding from either government or a college to fund their program to further their research and everything like that. So they'll be out speaking about that and what they're doing, as well as some of the other experiments that they run. We have Carter Bushcart, who's a MUFON researcher as well as a BFRO researcher. He's written a couple books on Bigfoot and some of his explorations. He's going to be out there speaking. And then we have Rick Park from True Ghost Stories. He'll be out there talking about, I think he's going to be talking about True Ghost Stories, but I think he's also, I've been trying to get him to talk about orbs because this guy, I freaking love him. You guys would too. He destroys these thoughts about orbs. Like the last conference that I was at where we were both speaking, he went up there, did his presentation on orbs, and you could just feel the room just go like it,
oh man,
like he absolutely destroyed the whole theory and thought behind orbs, why you have this color orb or this color orb and all this stuff. Like, he goes into the science of it, and I found it hilarious, and that everybody was just like, orbs, you know. I hate orbs. I'm not an orb fan.
Yeah, didn't you say that nobody ought to bring you a picture of their orbs because you're like, no, just don't.
Well, I tell people, don't bring me any pictures, period. This is something I do whenever I go, like this September, I'm speaking at the Fall Into the Supernatural event outside of Kansas City. Like, whenever I go up to speak, the first thing out of my mouth is, you guys are going to probably think I'm a dick. I promise I'm not. But you're probably going to think I am after this because, number one, please don't bring me any pictures. Don't come to me with your phones and be like, hey, what do you think of this picture? What do you think of this? Because I will tell you what I think. And you won't like what I think, what I have to say, because I wasn't there. I don't know the circumstances or environment. Right. I can't give you an honest answer.
Right.
Well, Dave, I got a picture I want to show you really fast.
You sent that in my DMs. Very inappropriate.
Ryan, he knows what a wiener.
Tell, man. Come on.
Ryan, he knows what a wiener
like a snake's tongue. It goes like.
I was trying to coach Dave, and I said, "Hey, Dave, say what we say whenever we aren't sure what it is. We just go, that's interesting, because obviously it's very important to you. I don't see it. That I don't have to see it. It's interesting." And we're kind of like, yeah, okay, it's interesting. Leave it at that. No.
Well, sometimes I slip up because that is something that we do say whenever we can't really, it's like we don't know the circumstances, the environment, and all that kind of stuff, and what you were doing, what you were in at the time that you captured this thing that you're trying to show me. And so I will say sometimes, oh, that's interesting. But sometimes I'll really see something and I'll just be like, oh, that's interesting. And we've told people in the past, we say that's interesting, and they're like,
it's code word.
What? Like, no. I really do think it's interesting.
I really do think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Then you're always telling the truth.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I have to. I can't just. I don't pander. I think that's probably one of the things I'm known for, because
that's why people think you're a dick.
It is. I mean, I've called people out on air on other radio shows for the stupid bullshit that they do. I've called them out by name. Yeah. I almost got one guy in trouble because the person I was calling out happened to be a lawyer as well. And and she went after the radio show host, and I was like, why would she go after you? I was the one that said shit. She wants to start shit, she can come to me, because I had some shit on her. She not a good person. And yeah, she never did come after me. She hasn't said anything to me. We like, I don't have a lot of enemies, but like, she's my nemesis.
Once you have her fierce, yeah.
Like,
oh no,
everybody promotes and glamorizes paranormal unity, but honestly, it's a bunch of bullshit. Because we're humans. Humans don't get along. Not all of us get along, and we can't all get along because it's impossible. It's not in our nature for everybody to get along. So I'm not one of those paranormal unity, toters or anything like that, because I'm a realist. But if that makes me an asshole, it makes me an asshole. I don't care. So yeah, I kind of have this feeling I have this reputation in the field just for being a dick, because I do speak my mind and I don't pander. So
no,
that's why
makes me
like
real.
it.
well, yeah.
And I'm all about promoting other groups and everything like that. But
Yeah, me too.
Some of them don't much like them.
Yeah,
that just comes with the territory. You're not going to like everybody. You're not going to believe in what everybody's promoting. So,
and when I say I call people out for their bullshit, it's not like I'm calling people out for wearing all black or standing like
okay, all right, Dave.
Like that. I'm talking about people that are doing some dirty shit. Like this one person who has been having these places sign contracts to where if anybody wants to investigate, they have to go through this person, and then they pay this person. Yeah, this is some real shady shit. She does not pay these locations. They don't get any money, and these places are falling into disrepair. It's stuff like that that really pisses me off, and that's why I call people out on bullshit. It's stuff like that. It's not like generic, standing in a Ghost Adventures pose,
Yeah. I'm starting to think he has a problem with our shirts. That's the second time he's mentioned it. We're all black.
No, just
think
yours.
I didn't pick.
I can see his. I
saw
the. I can see his. I saw the band on his shirt. You're just wearing all black, I bet.
plain old black, plain old black.
I'm repping Old Park tonight. Old Park Hotel, Ballinger, Texas. I'll go ahead and say it.
Nice.
Have you ever been there?
No, I have not.
Pretty good.
Check it out.
Not to be missed.
Yeah,
not to be missed.
Good.
So, real quick about your Paracon.
Yes.
It is in. Tell the city it's in, because I don't believe I heard that, because we are in Texas, and this is not a Texas Paracon, you guys.
It is in Joplin, Missouri, home of the Spooklight. I'm actually thinking about setting up a kind of field trip for some people to go out to see the Spooklight. After I finished my first film, we actually did the premiere at the theater, the Route 66 theater. And like the turnout was amazing. We had the theaters damn near sold out 2 nights in a row, showing this film. And that just kind of, to me, just says a lot about the community and how much they actually are interested in the paranormal and in the Spooklight itself. But after I did that, somebody that lives in what was the old museum, the Spooklight Museum, is now her residence, which is right out there on Spooklight Road. She emailed me saying if I ever go back out there to let her know, and I can just park on her property and all this stuff. So I was like, well, if that's the case, why don't I, maybe set up a thing for her to let us park there for the event or something, and people can come out.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
So we're going to be up that direction around I'll let you know.
And man, if
you did tell me on the phone you take me Bigfoot hunting, and I'm going to hold you to that. He's like, crap, did I actually say that? That crazy bitch remembered that.
You be talking the whole time.
I know. Damn you for talking. Yeah.
I've
me and I won't forget.
I'm not a Bigfoot hunter by any means, but like since that second film, like I've gotten a really big interest in it. I've only done it one other time, and I had the shit scared out of me.
Do tell.
Well, it was me and another guy that were out in the middle of the woods. I had my camera set on night vision, and he went back to the truck to get something. Well, there's a ravine in front of me, probably about 20 yards in front of me where it starts sloping down. And I could hear something walking up this ravine, up the hill towards me. And I'm like, I don't see anything in infrared, and it just keeps getting closer and closer. And then out in the distance, I hear coyotes howling and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, this isn't coyotes. They're over there. We've had mountain lions out here spotted. So that was in the back of my mind. So I kept hearing it getting closer and closer. Then out of nowhere, it sounded like it was, just a few yards away from me. But dude in the next field over started shooting his gun, scared the shit out of me. I dropped my head. I'm like, oh, damn it. I'm just going to go back to the truck. I'm not going to wait to see what this is coming up the hill or get hit by a stray bullet. I kind of think they were shooting at the coyotes, but no, it sounded like he was right out there with us. And that scared the crap out of me. But
I can imagine, man. Something walking up on you like that. Well, dude,
I had 1 foot turned with the thing walking up there, but I didn't even get to see what it was. We did go back out there later that night. When we met back at the truck, I was like, "You need to come out there with me so I don't die alone." And and we ended up going back out there. And we went down into the ravine and we didn't see anything. So maybe it was deer, maybe it was something innocent, but like, when you can't see it and you're in the middle of the woods in the dark, it gets a little intense.
Assume it's a predator.
And that's what I tell them. I'll walk into any spooky ass abandoned building you've put in front of me, but if it's out in the woods, that scares the shit out of me because you don't know what's looking back at you from the tree line.
Yeah, and there's plenty of stuff for you to do the horror movie trip, and you can't just get away. Like,
speaking of the horror movie trip, that was awful what you did to Josh.
It was not awful. I was pretty nice about it. I don't know what you're talking about.
That was hilarious.
So the original
plan.
plan.
It wasn't funny, but
the original plan, for those of you that don't know, Josh Hurd is afraid of aliens. He has a big fear of aliens.
And he is one of the participants on
the Life films.
Yeah.
And I prank Josh all the time. I did a good one the last conference we were together at. I'll tell you about that later. So the initial scare that I was going to do to Josh, I bought a full body gray suit, and then I bought this alien mask.
Yeah. Oh no.
And the initial plan was, in the middle of the night, I was going to unzip his tent, and then Orville, since he had like all this stuff rigged to the stage, he was just going to do this loud bass drop and then turn on all the lights, and I was going to crawl through the tent at him. And
brilliant.
But Orville went to bed. He went to the house. He went to bed, and I was like, well, shit.
Damn it, Orville.
So I ended up having to call Orville to come back down. I was like, look, I know you're tired and everything, but can you take Josh around this part on the trail? And I'm going to go up to the main event site here, and we're going to scare him. He's like, okay, we can do that. So he takes Josh off one direction. I go up another direction, and then I come back to the stage, get dressed, and then run back out there. And I set my camera down on the ground to where it's facing where this is going to happen at. And so Josh is with Orville, and Orville starts talking about hearing something. And he's like, radio David to see if he heard it too. And I turned my radio off. So Josh starts trying to radio me, and it's beeping back at him. He's like, what the heck is going on? What is going on? And he's like, I don't know. Maybe we should check on him. And so they come back around, and Josh sees my camera laying on the ground. He's like, what the crap? He's like, oh, fuck. He starts running down there to come see what happened. And I'm watching him from in the wood line. And as soon as he got close enough, I come running out of the woods and he just flips shit. And he dropped the F-bomb a couple times, and I took off my mask laughing. But the reason I took off my mask and ended it that early is because I knew Josh was carrying a gun.
Oh shit!
It dawned on me that while I was running at him, is like, he's got a gun. I'm like, oh shit, maybe.
Yeah, you're like, you forgot to tell Orville to disarm him before you.
But the scare was still there. That's what mattered the most. And I did put it in the credits of the second film.
It is in the credits, and it is fantastic.
Now, at the conference, there's a Kansas City Paracon. Josh was speaking. There's a lot of people there. I had Johnny Hauser and Aaron Thompson and a bunch of others. I printed up like 20 shirts that have Josh's face on the front of it, and it says, "Have you heard?" And then on the back it says, "Official member of the Josh Heard fan club." So, about 20 of us throw on these shirts, and while Josh is speaking, we all marched into the auditorium right in front of everybody, right, and we all sat in the front row and just like kind of mocked him. And he was like, "Where'd you guys get those shirts?" And he looks over, he's like, "Glidden."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, money well spent just to see his reaction.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But
I'm all about a good prank.
But I love pranking him. I had people bombard his phone with pictures of cats. Just the stupidest
Next time
thing.
if you need help pranking him, you let us know. We'll be happy to.
Hell yeah.
I've got a couple pranks worked out for him. We were gonna send him a remote controlled haunted doll. So whenever he opens it up and puts it somewhere, we were gonna move it with the remote control. Like we're gonna,
man,
screw with them. Some really stupid stuff.
I love that.
Yeah, he's a good sport about it all.
He's got to be. He's got to be just
one of these
your friend
days,
after all that.
One of these days, he's going to get you really good, though.
I've been waiting for it. I was kind of waiting for it, but it, over the last couple of years, I haven't seen anything. So I don't think he's the pranking kind, really. Unfortunately for him.
That is hilarious. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this evening. I want to thank our special guest, David Glidden, for coming on and absolutely making me laugh. Oh, what fun. Make sure you go and check out the Haunting History YouTube channel. Go check out Into the Light. Now I'm going to get this right. Into the Light, an exploration of the spooklight phenomenon. And then Into the Light 2, a spooklight theory. You can find those on YouTube. Also, please go and get your tickets and attend the Haunting History Paracon in Joplin, Missouri on October the 7th and the 8th. And of course, as always, you can listen to Boogeyman Radio on when it rebroadcasts, not on Tuesday night at 8. Not on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. You're busy. You already have plans.
The archives.
You can listen to the archives. That's right. So, Blake, what else do they need to know?
Whatever social media channel you're watching this on, make sure you go follow us across the board. We're on every social media channel that you can think of. We don't just use one social media channel or all social media channels for one thing. We use them all differently. So make sure you're following us all around the board. And I don't have any announcements about tickets or investigations or anything because we are sold out right now. But we are about to put 2 on the schedule, so be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout for them. And you can also become a Patreon member for $5 a month. You can see what we really talk about. You can see there's no tiers, not 5, 10, 15. It's $5 a month. You get everything. So if you want to know what we really talk about, come and become a Patreon member. If you want to see which one of us is closest to hell, we tell you on our pre-broadcast tonight. What else they need to know, Ryan?
Go rate and review us on any platform where you get your podcast, and then share us with 2 people and have them share us with 2 people, because the bigger we get and the more you spread the word, the more we can bring it.
So like, share, and subscribe. Go ahead.
Also, if they have any questions or stories or anything they want to send Blake, where do they send that to?
That would be the evppod@gmail.com. That's THEEVPPOD@gmail.com.
So thank you so much for watching Everything Vaguely Paranormal. I'm Shelley Pruitt. For my partners in Paranormal, Mr. Blake Smith, Mr. Ryan Roberts, and a very special thank you to Dave Glidden, our special guest. Hey, you know what? Y'all have a great night, and we will see you next Tuesday.